Awesome. And how did you discover the sport?
So I actually started down in Houston, Texas with Sam Sand and Daniel Gill. That's how I got started in this. And Sam was like, dude, you've got to train. I showed up for a birthday party, I think, and racing with Daniel. And he's like, you need to train. And I started training shortly after that. And unfortunately, I ran into a small issue. I was in a girl's car and she wrecked her car, and I ruptured C5, C6, and C7 in my neck shortly after I started this whole Ninja Warrior journey. And I thought I lost it all, to be honest with you. So, long story short, I moved up here to New York to get my neck looked at a little bit more, and I found the passion again for the sport, and I've just kept climbing ever since.
Awesome. How did you find out about the existence of like Ninja Warrior gyms, and like did you see it on the show and then you were like, I want to try this?
So I used to watch Sasuke on G4 and all that stuff, and I was always a big fan of it. But I actually lived off of 1960 in Crocodile in Houston, Texas, and it was right down the street from Iron Sports. So I could actually walk there. I showed up for, like I said, I showed up for a birthday party, and I was shortly training after that. And then, like I said, after like 3, 4, 5 months, something like that, I was with Sam for a little while. And then that car accident happened, and then unfortunately I wasn't medically cleared, nor could I. Actually, I had my 6th concussion, so I woke up in the hospital. Let's put it that way. I don't really remember too much after that, but Ninja has always been. I was like, wow, wait, you can get paid for this? And I've been doing, you know what I mean? Like I've been doing Lachey since I was like 9, like not knowing it was a Lachey, just going from branch to branch. So technically, I think this sport was designed for me. I love it. I love body control. I love teaching it. But no, yeah, that's how I got started. Wow, I haven't really thought about this stuff in a while.
So when was it when you first, or like what season was it?
So it was season, I want to say, when I mentally when I wanted to do it, or
actually, how do you go from watching the show to being like, this is possible for me? Was it immediately like, oh, I can do this, or I want to try it out, I'm not sure if it's going to go well?
No, I'm not gonna lie to you. I knew I could do this. Like I've always had this. I know how my body works. I know how changing direction works. I know how when I want to move something, how I want to change it, how I change directions and forcing obstacle. Like sky hooks are one of my favorite ones. Bolt cutters are one of my favorites. So like it's all fly bar, salmon ladder. Like that's always been, I don't know. I've never been really scared of that aspect of it. I just knew I wanted to do it when I met Sam. Because he would just give me so many different avenues of, hey, try this. When you want to go to your left, you want to kick with your right. Work harder. Keep pushing yourself. Keep, just that small amount of time that I was with him really, really like just gave me this focus of, okay, I can do this. But then I got hurt. But when I got hurt was the best thing that ever happened to me, because then it took me up to New York. Right. And I thought I lost it all. I literally thought I was going to have to, I was a welder before, right? I thought I'd have to go back to working a 9 to 5 and all that stuff. But the point where I knew that this was going to be something that I could do professionally and own a gym and run it was shortly I was running at a gymnastics gym, and a bunch of my kids were like 6, 7, 8 years old, and they just, I don't know, man, watching kids overcome things and push themselves mentally and physically, there's nothing like it, right? And I've always had people, unfortunately, when I was younger, telling me I was too small to do things. And I hated that. So I wanted to be an inspiration to the youth, right? And it just blew up in this area. Like Ninja Warrior and Utica, it doesn't exist without Joe Maxwell, right? And I'm very grateful and humble for that. So I just knew I had to rebuild myself and get myself back to being 100%. So the kids were my motivation. So, so many ups and downs, blood, sweat, and tears have went into this. I'm just very grateful for the community here. that they believe in my way and the way I train and the way I coach the kids. So that, to be honest with you, it's the kids. The kids for me is my biggest motivation.
Yeah. And what was your background before you did this?
So I was a welder, fabricator. I used to work. I was a warehouse shipping and receiving warehouse manager. I've done a little bit of both. I love to tinker. I guess that's why Ninja works for me too. Is I love to tinker with obstacles and build. And
honestly, it sounds like your life was setting yourself up for this.
What'd you say?
Honestly, it sounds like your life was setting yourself up for this future.
To be honest with you, bro, I agree. I think God has been setting me up for this moment in my life to be able to give back to these kids. I'm 37 years old now, right? I'm possibly in the best shape I've ever been. Even after all the injuries and when I first started this, not to keep rambling, but when I first started this business, we were in a 1,200 square foot building with 11-foot ceilings. Like, it was not big at all. We had a 10 by 20 foot rig that I was teaching on, right? And it was in the middle of COVID. Well, our first competition we had, I broke my leg. I did a backflip and one leg landed on a mat and one didn't, and it broke. Well, I coached the next day for 12 hours for the kids. So when I tell, and I thought it was a calf cramp because I broke my fibula. It wasn't something where I couldn't. Well, I'll tell you right. I felt like I didn't want to walk, but but it's that it's the kids, man. It's the kids for me. It's the younger generation that they just don't have. They didn't have that guidance. They didn't have that, like, hey, you can overcome this, man. You just got to put forth the effort. And boom, and a little bit, anyway, so that's it. It's the kids for me, to be honest.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes we're all about like trying to inspire the kids as much as possible, but in the end, they end up inspiring us just as much.
Yes. And for me, even more so. Like, I have 43 kids on team and I adore every one of them.
Mm-hmm.
So.
How did you make the decision to open your gym? Because that's very scary, especially like, I don't know if you went to school for business or something, or you had that background, but if you didn't, like, how do you get into this crazy kind of idea, like kind of like all or nothing?
So, all right. So I'm trying to make a long story short.
Mm-hmm.
So I was already at a gymnastics place, right? I don't want to name them, but I was already at a gymnastics place and we already had a set schedule. Well, COVID happened. Right. Well, I wasn't allowed to go back to that gym because I was competing at UNAA and Saratoga or Albany Ninja Lab. And she wouldn't let me back in the gym. And that bothered me, man. And I could not let my team kids at the time suffer and take months and months off. We worked so hard to get where we're at. So I was doing Zoom for free for my team kids. Mm-hmm. And the parents were saving money and raising money, and they sent a generous donation because we were doing 2 to 3 sessions a week. The whole, the first 6, 7 months, 8 months of COVID, something like that. It was a long time. Let's just put it that way. So I pretty much turned my living room into a maximum effort training studio. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And I was just giving back to them. It was free. And, my wife looked at me and said, hey, do you really want to go back there? Or do you want to do something with this? And the name came from a pinky promise that I got because, sorry, I'm rambling, but my mom passed away in 2019. My grandmother passed away in 2019 in August. My mother passed away in 2019 December, right? And then COVID happened. My mom and my grandmother were my biggest fans, and I don't have a dad. So like that, they've always been like that for me, my mom and dad. And when I lost them, I pinky promised her I would always give the kids maximum effort, right? And when the world shut down, I got mad. I created this for the kids for the Zoom, and then my wife invested me and said, hey, if you want to try it, try it. I found a building. We went for it. So I named it Maxwell for Training Studio because at the time, New York State wasn't allowing gyms to open, right? So I called it a training studio. They asked me what it was, and I said, well, it's a private training studio. She goes, as long as you keep it private, you can open. So And we just kept busting it out. I was doing private lessons 6 hours a day, one kid at a time, having them come in and train. And like you said, just to reiterate what you said earlier, sometimes it's the kids that really motivate and inspire. Watching these kids overcome obstacles mentally and physically, dude, there's nothing like it. So, yeah.
So did you have any background in business? Like, were you confident that you could make your own gym?
I do not. I do not. I went to maybe a month or two worth of college, and decided it really wasn't for me. I've always been a little bit of a hands-on person, with like welding and tinkering and building and all that stuff. So owning a business is super scary. And it's just something I had to learn how to adapt to. I still feel like I'm learning something new every day. And I'm very grateful for the people I have around me that I can reach out to and ask questions about. And I still make mistakes. Let's just put it that way. But the studio itself right now, it's not really open to like birthday parties and stuff like that. Like, we really just focus on rec and competitive training. So it's kept it really simple for me, really basic. And when we moved to this bigger building, oh my gosh, man, that was an undertaking in itself. It's 4 years now. I think we've been in this building for 2. I'm just now getting the building where I like it, to where it's easy to change things out and swap it out. I'm starting to teach the kids now how to change obstacles, so that way they don't get bored, right? Oh, Coach Joe, this is too easy. Okay, now go to stage 2. So, but yeah, now owning a business is definitely something that it's hard. It's hard, but it's worth it, man. It's worth it. Reading books and learning and audio stuff and just reaching out to friends. So yeah, that's right. I'd say I'm not doing too shabby. Let's put it that way.
Okay. So there's a lot of different types of ninja gyms. Like, most ninja gyms I've seen, they are either solely for kids, like just all their money is from birthday parties and like kids classes, stuff like that. And then a few gyms earn their money from kids, but then also re-rig it for adults so that adults can train as well. What is your gym like? Is it mostly earn money from kids, let adults train, or do you actually, is adult training part of your kind of business?
So our business model is more surrounded around the competition setting. So we do have some adults that do come in and train. We just haven't built them up yet. But I'd say 95% of it is our comp squad. So our competition squad comes in 2 to 3 times a week.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So it's simple. It's simplistic. It works for me. Like, I really, to be honest with you, I don't want to make $1 million. More money, more problems. Like, you know what I mean? I really just want to give these kids a place. There's too many kids that come to my gym that can't even do a push-up. Right? They can't do a pull-up. They can't climb a rope. They don't even know what their left and right leg is. So like, they're not getting that stuff at school anymore. So like, I'm trying to make this a place where kids can come and train safely and then start diving into the competitive side of things quicker. Like, we have a JV group that comes in on Tuesdays and Thursdays. They're an amazing group of kids. And then we have our comp squad that comes in Monday, Wednesday, Fridays. Right. It's simple, right? And I do private lessons on Saturdays, and then I take Sundays off. So it's not the best business plan. I'm not going to make $1 million, but I'm to be honest with you, I'm happy. I'm healthy. I get to be dad all the time. I don't have to really miss too much. And I get to see smiling faces all the time. So I'm pretty happy.
Yeah, that's the best way to live.
Yep.
And throughout your journey of opening the gym, were there ups and downs? Were there challenges you had to get through? Were there moments where you're like, oh, this might completely not work out, I might have to shut this down? Or was it like a smooth road?
It was not a smooth road by no means. I did have a buddy of mine coming out and helping me design the first part of this place. And unfortunately, he decided to go a different path, which was, I completely understand, man. Coaching and being a part of something is not for everybody. I just really wish he would understand how much of an impact he had in this area. with these athletes, and they really missed him. You know what I mean? I'm not going to name his name, but he's a good dude. So that was part of the downs. We're more on the upslope right now. We're about ready to expand even more to where we're going to add a second part of this on the other side of the building. But it's going to be mostly just for like little kids from like 2 years old till like 6, just to get them a little bit more started with ninja and how to walk on things properly and how to jump and how to fall. Because there's too many kids that don't even know how to fall. That's why they break their arm or they break their leg on a playground, because they can't, you know what I mean? They don't know how to do it. So I'm hoping that transition is going to come soon, or that announcement will come soon. We just started talking logistics, so it may or may not happen. But as far as the main studio, the elite side, I'd say we've had our fair share ups but even more, so we've had our fair shares of downs, but even more ups month to month, because these kids are they're excited to be here. They want to be here. They love challenges. They love doing sketchy things, but it's safe. We have more than enough matting. And like I said, I talked about this all day long. It's watching them become best friends, watching them lead each other, and the older generation leading the younger generation. And like, that's what it's all about, man.
Mm-hmm. So you mentioned you're in the best shape of your life. So how do you have time to train if you're the owner of a gym? Because a lot of people that own gyms, I talk to them, they're like, as soon as I started running my gym, my training days are in the past.
Not me. So I actually train 3 days a week. And I do it now. Now would be my training time. So I come in, usually I'll eat lunch, or I'll train in the mornings when nobody's here. I don't train near as aggressively anymore as I used to. I wish I was 10 years younger. If I was 25, everybody would be in trouble. I'd be moving like Jay Lachey. I promise you. But unfortunately, I'm almost 40. But I can still go. I can still go with the best of them. And it's now for me, I want to be able to play baseball with my son. I want to be able to play basketball with him. You know what I mean? I want to be, when he's old enough, I want to watch him do ninja comps. I want to train ninja with him. So now my training 3 days a week is more of like, I do some yoga. I do iron neck training with this. Have you heard of that? The iron neck?
No, what is that?
So it's a neck strengthening device that Joe Rogan and all them, they talked about. Dude, it works. It's especially with the guy that has an injured neck. Like, I ruptured C5, C6, and C7. Like, I have to strengthen that part of my neck, because I can throw a 15-foot lachey above water all day long, but you put a mat there, a 4-inch mat, I'm going to be scared to do it because I don't want to peel off.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And then I hurt myself. Right. So my training now consists of yoga, strengthening my neck, working on linking lacheys, working on just basic grabs, and then a lot of stretching afterwards, and then what I put back into my body. Right. It's very important that, you put the nutrients back in for your body to recover, and not killing myself every single time. So like, my regimen, like Monday, Wednesday, Fridays, right? The team days come in, the team kids come in. I'm usually training in the mornings, and then the afternoons I'm coaching.
Yeah. So as a very experienced ninja, what would be your advice for someone who is, has been training for a while, and what would be the best weekly split? Like, how many days a week should you train? Should you do some rock climbing, some weightlifting, or should you do primarily just ninja?
No. So definitely do rock climbing. Rock climbing's been something that, like, I wish I could get out to this area in Utica, but unfortunately, I don't think Utica's big enough just yet, or maybe I'll have to build one myself. But rock climbing would be a very, very important thing with ninja. Training ninja, you don't have to do it all the time, right? But let's say this. You could also do like gymnastic style, like handstands, but like you got to keep it fun for yourself. But my best piece of advice is just be safe. Don't go too crazy with things if you're not comfortable with it. But also kind of push yourself in the same terms. So like, it's a double-edged sword. You got to learn when to hold it and when to fold it. Right. I've got a 10-year-old right now, right? He's probably the smallest kid on my team, but he can throw a 10-foot lachey, right? He's only 10. You know what his goal is? He wants to hit 11-foot lachey when he's 11. So I told him, I laughed, and I was like, dude, so eventually you're going to get to a point where your age is not going to match your lachey, right? But you got to be able to do it safely. So I like to give them the strengthening of your body to do the motions of ninja. So, and a lot of kids don't like fitness. So thank goodness my kids do, or they've just gotten used to doing fitness and ninja combined. That's usually what we do for our classes. It's not just ninja. We have a little bit of everything. We have our balance. We have our ninja. We have our calisthenics. We've had our a lot of body weight stuff. I would definitely highly recommend not doing weights because you don't want to be a heavy ninja at all. Because you got to think, if you're going on your fingertips and you weigh, if you weigh like 140, right? But you're only like, I don't even want to give an age, but you don't want to be a heavy ninja for your fingertip aspect of it. Like you don't want to blow a tendon in your hands.
Yeah.
Right. Because you got too much weight or your elbows start hurting or stuff like that. So, yeah. So that's my best piece of advice. Definitely don't do weights, and stick to more reps, body weight stuff, body weights. Or at least that's what I do.
And how did you come up with the layout of your gym? Did you design it on a computer? Did you just go for it?
No. I like I said, a buddy of mine was here helping me. We came up with the first setup that we had, and I was just trying to make it as adaptable as possible, as adjustable as possible, so that way I didn't have to stress myself out with coming up with too many, getting up there and moving too many bolts and stuff. The rest of it just kind of flowed together. Each piece kind of fit. I'd like to redo it eventually. Sam and I are working on something to possibly make the rig about 80 feet long. And so that way 80 feet long, but 3 lanes of 80 feet. But it's kind of floating and attached to the I-beams, right? So now all I have to do is just pull 2 pins and slide the bar over or something, or whatever he's coming up with. To make it a little bit easier for me. So now I can host competitions in just 2 lanes. I don't have to change the entire gym for a competition, you know? But that's, I don't know. I'd like to say it came together the way it was designed to be. It wasn't something I could see it in the vision. You know what I mean? Like you can always see things before. I just didn't imagine it being this beautiful, at this point. So.
And what was it like, the plan versus the final result? Like, did it cost more money than you thought? Did it cost more time than you thought? Was there any unexpected things that happened?
It took, let's just say it this way, it took more time to put it together than money. Because, like you said, I don't really care about the money aspect of it. I know what we needed to make it efficient, so we made the money first and then we paid for it. Because all the stuff in the gym right now is paid for. There's no loans or anything like that. So I started small, I kept it small, and then as we made the money, we got the obstacles. So if anybody out there, if you can hear me, and you want to start a ninja gym, start small, right? And build it that way so you don't have a bunch of loans. You don't have to do birthday parties. You don't have to do things you don't want to do. And no offense, eventually we may have birthday parties, right? It's just not my cup of tea. I want to coach athletes. I want to teach kids how to do things. I don't really want to babysit. And no offense to those that do. I don't want to be that guy. No offense to them, but it's just not my cup of tea. So.
Yeah, I talked to Anton from Manco, and he told me the same thing. He's like, I'm a painter, not a ninja coach, because I just don't like babysitting kids.
Right. Like, think about that. Like, for those, if I went into this for babysitting, absolutely, dude. We would have everything that would be 2 feet off the ground, right? Everything would be padded, and I don't have to stress out. And I would have a bunch of coaches working for me, wrangling kids, and we would go. But then I'm cleaning the gym, I'm prepping the gym, I'm pretty much doing all that right now, and I'm happy. I'm not really worried about doing the babysitting part of it yet. Because, and I don't want to say babysit because that's mean. And I get it. A lot of gyms make their money that way because that's their structure. Oh, hey, all good for you. Oh, absolutely. It's just not mine. You know what I mean? So.
Yes, definitely. Is there anything you learned that you weren't expected to learn? Like maybe there's, being a CEO is quite a big job that you can't really uh, get ready for fully before you actually experience it. Is there anything you had to learn that you had no clue how to do?
Um, Attendance was something that I had to figure out how we were to run it. Keeping up with who's coming, who's not coming, because at first I was just using pen and paper. So that did not work very long. So I don't know. Ask your question again one more time.
Was there anything you learned that you didn't expect to have to know how to do? Like maybe
Okay.
clean the bathrooms, manage employees, run competitions, stuff like that.
So right now we don't really have employees, right? It's literally just me pretty much running 95%. Well, 90%. My wife pretty much does the backside. And then I have a social media person that helps me with social media. Thank goodness, because I can't, that part's hard for me. But the part that I had to learn the most is pretty much the attendance, finding a software that fit here, that makes it affordable for our community, the people in this area, and then learning how to put my words. Like, I'm really great at talking on this, right? I'm not so much great at putting it on social media. I'm really good at making reels. That's about it. Right? Because I grew up in the TRL era in the 90s, to where like they always had music videos. So that's where that comes from. So teaching myself how to do the attendance and expressing myself more on social media and all that stuff, that was probably the hardest part. The ninja and owning and coaching and all that stuff, dude, it comes naturally. I really feel like I was made for this.
If you told your younger self what you'd be doing now, do you think your younger self would be like, okay, that makes sense, that's like what I expected for my future? Or were you like, what direction were you headed in when you're in the mind of your childhood self?
So I had a rocky child. I don't want to get that too into this because I don't like people feeling sorry for me. But like I said, I didn't really have a dad growing up. So, and my stepdad that my mom was married to was very, very abusive, mentally and physically. So I was that kid that was, unfortunately, while they were fighting, right, hiding in closets, wondering if my mom was okay or not. If I could look at myself now, I would probably cry and give myself a big old high five in the head and a big old hug and say, "Good job, kid, you did it." Or "Good job, guy, you did it." Because I could see myself doing this at 10 years old. You know what I mean? It's just you got to go through those up and downs in life. You got to go through it and believe in God and have faith that there's a bigger picture in this. I don't know. I give a lot of credit to my mom. My mom raised me from, she was 17 years old when she had me. I was I had a brother. He passed away when I was 6. He was 2. And at 23 years old, I watched my mom have a lot of mental struggles past that. So I decided I would learn how to do dishes and laundry and cleans and take care of our 1-bedroom apartment that we shared, the bedroom, you know what I mean? We lived without for a lot. So, I think that set me up for now we have an opportunity and a chance to give back to these kids. I want this to be a safe place for them. I don't know what's going on at their home. I don't know what's going on in their childhood, right? At least I know there's 85 plus kids that come here that have a safe place to see Coach Joe. You know what I mean? So sorry if I took a spin and I took that to the right, but that's my younger self would be so dang proud of me right now at this point. And I have to be proud of myself, that we're even having this conversation because, I am not, like I said, I'm not very good at sharing all this, but to have somebody ask me that type of question. Yes, sir. I think he would be proud.
Yeah, and what are your advice for someone who may be going through, maybe not the exact same situation, but struggles in their childhood with their family or in general? How did you overcome this and get to the place you are now? What would you recommend for people?
Pray. Keep believing. Have faith. It's It's going to be okay. You just got to fight through it, and talk to people. Talk to people. I didn't have that a lot growing up, but I did have a few counselors and stuff that I did talk to that kind of helped me grow up, and kind of this. But finding Ninja has been, for me, the best part of my life. To be a part of this community and these people and build something in the middle of nowhere in central New York, right? That no one can tell me God doesn't exist. How does this happen without his guidance? You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? There's no way. I'm from Houston, Texas. You know what I mean? Like, what? I'm in central New York, and now I have a business, a family. I'm a dad. Like, and everybody's in trouble. My son's already, like, getting ready. So it's going to be fun watching him hopefully want to compete in the next, 3 or 4 years. You know what I mean? And be a part of this beautiful community that we call Ninja. And yeah, so to me, it's never really been about the show. I love the show. Don't get me wrong. I wish I had my chance. I haven't gotten that chance yet, but I don't do it for the show. I do it for the kids. I do it for the community. I love you guys. Have you ever heard me coaching?
No.
Okay. So like, I love watching people do Ninja. It's just all happiness comes in. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah. When you came into the sport, you said within 5 months, you felt like you lost everything. So did you jump in right away? As soon as you came in, this was already your entire life?
So I was going to go head first, and I met Daniel, and Daniel was he was Daniel Gill, not the Kingdom Ninja. Sam was just and from what I remember most, because like I said, I got a concussion, so I remember some, but I don't remember a lot. They were very two dedicated people, and obviously look at them now, right? Sam's one of the best ones in this industry, and Daniel Gill to me is the best. Yes, I thought this was going to be something I was going to go dive headfirst into, and then it got yanked from me. God said no, not at this time. And I think that's the reason why, is because I had to come up here. I would have never came up here if I didn't hurt my neck. I promise you. I was perfectly happy down the street. You know what I mean? So I think this was God's way of getting me, all right, hey, this is your sport, right? But I got to take it away from you. And now you got to rebuild yourself. Because we have kids that need your help up here. So.
Yeah. And
you got some really, really good questions, by the way. I don't think I've ever thought about this stuff before. So.
What was it like as your ninja journey progressed, as you came into New York and you realized it's not over? What was it like rebuilding?
Very painful. Very painful. I was going to physical therapy 2 to 3 times a week. I was 133 pounds when I moved up here. And yeah, so a lot of behind the scenes of working hard and then coaching, going to physical therapy, going to coach, going through physical therapy, cleaning the gym at the gymnastics place, and then setting up and coaching, just to make ends meet. But I wouldn't change any of it, man, to be honest with you. I'd go through all of it again to get to this point right here where we're talking on this interview. So.
Yeah, and what are your goals for your gym and competitively? Like, you're definitely in a great place right now, but there's a ton of opportunity for this sport in the future. So what do you hope to accomplish?
I personally would love to have a world champion come out of this gym. It doesn't have to be it doesn't have to be me. But I would love a world champion to come out of this gym. My personal goals, I want the adult World Ninja League Championship. That's my goal this year. So that's my personal goal for the business aspect of it. I just wanted to keep building, keep thriving, and then let the kids kind of take over a little bit as they get old enough and they want to coach and they want to kind of like reach back and pull one up with you. Like, that's what I try to do. I try to motivate the youth to so they can motivate the younger generation. Because eventually my son's going to get old enough, and he's not going to listen to me anyways. And I kind of want to show him that Dad was pretty cool back in the day. So, so yeah.
And throughout your competitive experiences, what are some interesting memories you've made, some competitions you've been to, some really eye-opening or like memories that kind of changed your life maybe?
Let's see. The biggest one that was one that changed my life was after I broke my leg back in 2020, shortly after we started the business. I actually healed up and competed and got second place 3 months later, almost to the day at Saratoga Ninja Lab. And I knew I could do it. I knew I could make the comeback. Wait, I didn't get second place. Sorry. I've gotten second place there before, but I knew that I could make this comeback. And then I've had a few injuries in between then or not, but it's the mental toughness for me that I know I have. And I'm hoping that can show these kids that, always push yourself, always max out. That's the saying. We don't just talk about it. We do it, I can't say, hey, everybody, I max out, but my leg hurts today. I'm not going to do it, so I try to stick by what I say pretty much.
And what is your opinion on the direction that the sport is headed in the show? For example, like the changes that they had the last few seasons and the fact that the show is dying and the leagues are coming up, it might be in the Olympics, might be in X Games. What do you see as a good future for the sport?
So I definitely can see, I think the show needs to make it less about a TV show and more about the athlete, right?
Yeah.
Because the athletes, dude, these younger kids that are coming up, bro, they are not bad at this sport. You know what I mean? Like, they are not, like, it's amazing watching this, right? But, like, give them a platform, man. Give them a chance to do it. Give them, you know what I mean? Like, but you can't just make it because somebody has a story, right? I think that's part of the problem. Like, I have a story and I still didn't get picked. Like, my mom, and I can go on about this all day long, but I think the TV show itself needs to be fixed, and Ninja should be less about a TV show and more about these leagues, right? But the leagues can't keep dropping the ball on certain things. Regionals and prep and all this stuff, like, and really kind of like, I don't know, take everybody and give them a great product, which I think they have done. The worlds have been great, right? They're the money thing, right? You're making it like it's a gymnastics meet, right? Mm-hmm. People don't want to pay hundreds, thousands of dollars to go compete in a competition and you get 2-minute runs, right?
Yeah.
So that I think needs to be fixed. But how do we fix that? How do you get 5,000 competitors or 2,000 competitors to go on the same course throughout a weekend? You know what I mean? I just think we're still in that not infancy phase, but we're still in a phase where we're trying to figure out how this works. I'm never going to stop. I'm a part of it. You know what I mean? And to be a part of it, I'm going to give all I can. And if anybody was to call me, like, I reffed last year at Worlds. Super fun to see the behind the scenes thing. Dude, they don't get enough credit for what they do behind the scenes. They really don't, right? It's amazing with what they do. I just think they get themselves too overloaded on other things that they forget the details where the parents see it. You know what I mean? So, sorry about my roundabout. It's hard for me to say where this sport's going without knowing more details coming up from the leagues.
So what do you think would be best? Would it be best for the show to recover and make it more of a sport? Would it be best for the leagues to build themselves, slowly the way they are now? Or for it to be picked up by the Olympics or something like that?
So my problem, or not my problem, my concern would be if we start making courses to where everybody has the same course and they're practicing on it, right? It becomes a race, a speed course, right? Where is the fun in that? People are going to get bored. They're not going to want to do it anymore. Like, it's hard to keep ninjas into it as it is right now, right? They want to practice the hardest techie moves possible, or at least I have a bunch of kids right now that they want to practice the hard stuff, right? Yeah. but making it a sport. How do we make it a sport? That's my question. How do we do this? Do we have a committee? Do we do we put it all together? Is there a basic set 10 of obstacles that we need to do? Like, I don't know at this point. I think it'd be really cool to have the Olympics, but didn't they drop the ball on that one last year?
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, I strongly believe that it should not be part of the Olympics. I think what makes the sport so great is that it is so creative and open and not rigidly structured. Like, okay, this is a course, and every year you just run the same course over and over. Like snowboarding and skiing is the same thing. It's like, it used to be this fun sport that people would just race down through like the mountains, but now it's like every year the same course, the same tricks, and you just kind of like, you just have to be perfect with your movement, and it's just like all about perfection. And I think that's what makes Ninja so beautiful. Is it's like, it is so open, it is so creative, and there's so many different types of movements and new movements coming up every single year. Like every year, new obstacles are being created. It's amazing.
And that's the part that we have to keep doing. Because I'll tell you right now, one of my favorite gyms to go to right now, or I've ever been to, is either Ninja Lab or Ultimate Obstacles. Right? Marion them and Keaton, like they're just, you never know what you're going to get out there. Mm-hmm. Right? I love that. I don't want to go to a gym and be like, all right, it's the same obstacles, same tech, let's go, right? That's boring, right? It's unfortunately, we already have to watch a bunch of kids sometimes where they're out and they have to continue the run, which I get that. I get that. That's great for business. But I love the idea of going somewhere and being like, all right, we're going out to Ultimate Obstacles. They work really hard on their course designs. So let's get ready, right? And I love that. I like that part of the sport. Now, there's probably people that disagree with me. You know what I mean? Or disagree with both of us. But to make it where it's in the Olympics and it's the same thing over and over and over again, I don't know if I would enjoy that.
Yeah, for sure. And I think to preserve, the beauty of the sport, the slow growth of the leagues is the best way to go. And especially because there's so many leagues. Like, you could have like the World Championships, or like, I forget what it's called, the OCR race thing, where you have the same course every year over and over again. And there's room for that. Like, you can have that as well. But you could also have an SC type where it's different all the time. And so many different things. Insane. Like, some people don't like how there's so many different leagues and they're like competing against each other. Like, you don't know which one to do. You don't know which one to watch. But I honestly love it. I feel like that brings more diversity to the sport. And there's no reason to really kind of funnel it down to just one way. Like, it's awesome how there's so many ways.
I agree. I 100% agree. I love that UNAA is more of a points-based, right? FINA still has their like little badge things. Like, that's super cool too. They get a speed course and endurance course, right? WNL is more they're supposed to be the more elite tier 1 competitions for kids. Like, I love that. And then NSC, I think NSC is the future of elite. I do. I think the challenge course format right now for WNL is possibly the future of Ninja, right? Yeah. Even though NSC started it first, right? With the redo system. These kids sometimes, bro, need a redo, right? Athletes sometimes need a redo, right? So, like, I think that's why would we mess that up with making it all right, everybody gets the same course, everybody you know what I mean? I agree with you. Sorry. I love the different flavors of Ninja that we get. It's just now, how do we come together as a community and make this even better for the community, for the kids? Well, not just the kids, all athletes. Let's say all athletes, from masters to the 6-year-olds. So
yeah, I was also thinking there's flyaways, cane tech, all these things that are really, really popular on social media. A lot of people love to watch them, and a lot of people love to try them, but it does not have any representation in competition yet. Do you think there's room to represent that?
Flyaways. And so my question is how, unless you're able to force that move, right, how would we be able to implement it? I don't know. I don't know the answer to that question.
My idea would be...
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay. My idea would be to do like kind of skateboarding / snowboarding type style, where you have 30 minutes to land the most interesting run you can. Like, you have a little course, you have bar tech,
freestyle ninja.
Tech. Exactly, yeah, freestyle ninja. So you have like 30 minutes to land some really cool tricks, and then you get judged out of 100.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
I mean, it's
No,
hard to
that's
convince
not
them the
that's not
Olympics.
bro. That's not a
Yeah.
bad idea. That's crazy. I'm not doing it, but I would love to see someone do it. I would go nuts. I think that would be entertaining for sure.
I think it's hard to put ninja in the Olympics because ninja itself is like an Olympics. Like you could have freestyle ninja is a whole different sport than just normal ninja. Like there's so many aspects. It's already like bigger than just one sport.
Oh, facts, 100%. This is bigger than just one. Absolutely, I agree. But that's crazy. I didn't think about freestyle ninja. Wait, didn't Herman come up with that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, dude. You know what? That would be very entertaining. I would love to see something like that one day. I'm not doing it, but I would love to watch. I'll judge it.
Yeah, definitely. So there's, it's very popular, like in general, around the world. Everyone knows everyone knows what it is, but people only know the shows. People only watch the shows. They don't know about the leagues. They don't know ninja gyms exist. They don't know there's something they could even try. Like, how do you bring the popularity of the show and funnel it into the popularity of the sport?
Unfortunately, I don't think that has been figured out yet. Me personally, because I haven't been on the show, right? So like I can't go to people and be like, "Oh, have you seen the show? I was on it back in season 4," right? I don't think it would have to be broadcasted on like ESPN or something like that. Or that's so funny. That's a really tough question for me because that's something that I've actually thought of too on how to even get it to make it more where people know more about it besides just the show and know about the league. So I think the way I'm doing it is I'm making this more about the competition kids than I'm actually making it about like sign up today for my classes, do this today, only a few spots left. You know what I mean? Birthday parties, this and that. Like I make it where like we're actually a close knit community. You have to try out for my team. Right? So like that way, but I guess that doesn't do anything. Well, it does because then people and everybody sees their kids when they post videos of them getting first, second, and third at comps, right? Oh wait, what's that kid doing? Right? All right. Well, we're a part of the Nina and we're a part of WNL. This is a ninja competitions. If you guys want to train, you want to join the JV group. We start in junior varsity. Once you make junior varsity, you have tryouts for varsity coming up in August. You know what I mean? That's what I've been trying to do locally. As far as nationally, I don't know that answer.
Yeah, I mean, we're gonna have to find out, but definitely the opportunities for this sport are absolutely huge.
Oh, endless.
Yeah.
Right. It just depends on if people can start coming together, like gyms coming together. I know CNY here. I would love to work with more of Syracuse and Albany to come together, and we all have like a little summer series during the summer where we're kind of like feeding off each other, like your team. So the kids still have stuff to do during the summer. That's also where you run into an issue is where kids you stop doing comp class, right? And the kids just go to open gyms and they don't do it or they do other sports. They go on vacations. And then they have to start all over going into the season. It feels like they lose their skills, right? Or they lose interest because they lost their skill. So for me here, we're all year round. So it starts January 1st till December 31st, all year round, right? And we just train constantly. And I try to keep it fun for the kids to where like they go and play other sports. They dominate those others. This is the part that people don't realize. Ninja can help you with any sport possible.
Yeah.
Any sport. Name a sport, Ninja can help you with it. I have yet to see one sport. Maybe ballet, but even ballet, you're working on your toe. You know what I mean? You're spinning. We do the same thing. We walk on our toes and we spin and we do balance. You know what I mean? So like, it's teaching kids fundamentals of body control, right? And I'm not the best with words with this, but like you got to learn how to control your body in everything you do. Walking down the street, you got to walk a straight line. You know what I mean? Sorry, that was my little venting session right there.
It is really kind of more than a sport because I don't know if you know this, but in Israel, it's first of all, it's the most popular TV show on their television is the Ninja Show. And
Oh, wow.
it's like in their country, it's like a way of living. It's not really even just a sport. Like you can't really even compare it to soccer in their country because the playgrounds are made of ninja obstacles. Like ninja obstacles are everywhere. Ninja gyms are like every 30 miles. Like it has really
Wow.
taken over the country. And I could see that happening in the future in other countries as well. Like it's just a better way of moving.
Right. No, it is. I had no idea about Israel, by the way. But that's super cool. How do we? I like the Israel, the pool,
Yeah.
whatever that dude. That's genius. Like if I had the money, I'm not gonna lie to you. If I had the money, we would have. And we're in upstate New York, so it gets really cold up here. So, if I could, I would, because that's genius. Like your kids are falling in the water.
Yeah, and I met some people from that ninja pool when I went to the Ferox WNL finals, and they said it's actually someone's backyard.
If I could, I would, dude. I would definitely do that here. I just think it being too cold and the filtration system up here would be definitely
Yeah, maybe
Super
down in
hard to
Florida
do.
or something.
But yeah, no, it would have to be down south. There's no way.
Yeah.
Up here, bro. Can you imagine getting out of the pool?
I mean, what was it? What is it like on the show? On the show, it's like in the like 50s, right? It's like freezing water.
Yeah. From what I've heard from some of my buddies, that it's super cold. It's
Mhm.
definitely not. It's not fun at all.
Yeah.
But hey, that's the whole point. Don't fall in the water.
But it's definitely a lot easier to do ninja over water. You know, you can send bigger moves and not be afraid of getting hurt.
So that then to reiterate, literally that's my biggest issue right now. Like I'm almost 40, right? I have to work a job. I have to take care of my family, right? I can't throw big moves with no padding, right? But then if you don't have adequate padding, you have to have that. But then that takes away from the spacing underneath the obstacle. You know what I mean? So now I can't really pull with my hips more to kick with my feet to go forward, right?
Have you been at Ferox?
For yes, I've been there.
They have like the inflatable mat things, or do you think those are better?
I think they're genius. So I'm not gonna lie to you. If I had my way and I had $1 million, right, I would definitely have an elite side, a kid side, and a trampoline park. Dead serious, bro. They're genius. Like think about that. Like as an owner, right, all you really need is staffing to take care of the kid. You don't have to change anything. Right now, ninja gyms, like they wear themselves out because they have to raise and lower everything.
Yeah.
I don't know about half my friends here in this area, dude. They just stress out about moving things all the time.
Yeah.
And I just think this sport it's like you said, it's definitely growing where we need it to grow. I think the leagues need to pick up their pay a little bit more attention to what the community is asking for. But also just enjoy it too. Like I think the leagues just need to sit back and be like, bro, we did the best we could, and give themselves a round of applause.
Mm-hmm.
This could be worse. They could have had like no good obstacles at Worlds. You know what I mean? Like they could have. It could be way worse than what we're getting, and I think it's growing right where it needs to be. And then these conversations that we're having, right, and hopefully it gets out to the world, right, of knowing that there are people in this area that really love this sport and love to see it growing, and we're trying our best. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Now, how do you deal with the re-rigging at your gym? Do you have to always re-rig, or do you have like some sustainable setup?
so I call myself, I'm a little bit on the mean side, right? I tend to keep my gym, half of the gym is more like speedy tech stuff. And then, actually, sorry, 1/4 of the gym is really speedy tech stuff. And then our speed stuff and lower. And then the 3/4 of the gym is all tech. Like I'm looking at it right now. Sky hooks, bear traps, sky hooks, fly bars, salmon ladder. I have a 65 foot lane of just laches. It's pretty much we're cane lane. We have bolt cutters. We have the kaleidoscopes, and then we have our 16-foot warp wall. So, a lot, like I said, it's more this facility is more dialed in for the competitive kid.
So you mentioned that leagues are not perfect. What could they do to be better?
It's not that they're not I don't think anybody can be perfect in this sport because it's just that hard to keep up with, right? I think they're doing good with what they have. They just got to work more on the planning aspect of it. Because I have too many parents that they can't even go to regionals because they don't have the date yet, right? They can't plan properly, and that's the problem. When you have we have multiple kids, right? Parents like to plan. Well, then they get the sour taste in their mouth, and then they don't want to do the league. And you know what I mean? It's just, I think they need to work better on getting the information out sooner. That's it. To be honest with you.
If someone is just starting the sport, let's say they first time in the gym, they're really intimidated, everything looks scary. What's your advice for first starting out?
Get your hands on the stuff, right? And smile as you're coming down. That's, you know what I mean? You got to be able to shake off the falls. You're going to fail at this sport more than you're ever going to be successful. I've been doing and training ninja roughly for about, 10 years, right? I still have yet to get a full buzzer, full clear, right? And that's something personal that I really want to do. So if you're starting out, just understand it may take you 10 years to get to where you're at, but you just got to put forth the effort to get to that point.
Mm-hmm. And would you have any advice for someone who doesn't maybe have any gyms around them? How can you train? Would you build your own things? What's some advice?
So if you don't have a gym, I think the best idea that you could do is look up calisthenics stuff that you could be starting off with in your basement. Make sure you got enough room. Get there's plenty of blueprints these days. It depends on if you're up north or you're down south. If you're down south, you could probably build a rig outside, right? If you're up north, I would probably look at something that you could have your parents put you something in the ceiling of your basement, or attic. But just a straight up pull-up bar. A pull-up bar is a great way to start. Because if you can think about this. I tell my kids all the time, if you can do 10 pull-ups in a row, you can do salmon ladder. That's the secret, right? And if you can do 10 push-ups in a row, you could probably throw a 4-foot lache, right? Depending on if your body, for me, it's all about, you got to have the physical strength too. The mental awareness will come, but the physical strength is key for ninja.
Yeah, definitely. And what you do before competitions? Is there anything you try to do to get your mind right, get your body right?
I listen to a little bit of music, but I stretch. I get myself ready. To be honest with you, bro, I really think about my mom. I really do. I think about my son and I think about my mom, and this all got taken away from me, man. It got all taken away from me just to be given back to me tenfold, right? And I feel very lucky to even step on starting platforms. Dude, I could have broke my neck already. Honestly. It could have been done. After the car wreck, I could have been done. I could have been in the hospital, and been done with life, paralyzed. But God gave me this opportunity and a chance to do this. So every time I step foot on that starting block, I smile, I scream, let's go, or woo, and just have fun. And sometimes that's a good thing. Sometimes it's not. Sometimes I get too amped up. I get too excited because, I'm 37 years old and I'm still competing at a very high level. I dropped down from elites to adults so I can enjoy my training, because last year when I was doing elites, I was training too hard and my body was breaking. I was training almost 4 or 5 times a week. With 2 days rest. And those 2 days usually were competitions. You know what I mean? So my elbows were hurting, my fingers were hurting, my ankles were hurting, my leg was hurting, my body. I wasn't having fun. So now, just to be on the platform, knowing that I can compete at this level in the adults and have fun, it's priceless to me. Priceless. Now, let's say Joe Maxwell wins the adult WNL adult championship, then I would definitely go elite and I wouldn't be turning back. So I haven't had my shot at the show. I haven't had a chance to do to keep, to hold that trophy up yet. So that's my main focus when I go, and I think about my mom and I think about my son. So that's the answer to your question. A roundabout answer to your question. Sorry.
Are you focusing on competing, and how much focusing on the backside of like building your gym and stuff? Like long term, maybe like 10 years ahead, do you want to still be competing, or do you want to be focusing on your gym and building, creative obstacles, making new things happen?
I want to be the best person I can be. I want to compete. I want to compete. I want to compete at a high level. I want to be like Brett Sims, pretty much, man. I think he's got a really good outlook in life of being a gym owner, a dad, a builder, and enjoying life. You know what I mean? And a husband. And I think that's, to be honest with you, that's my goal. I think he's a little bit older than I am. I don't know. But he's definitely, like, I've got some obstacle ideas that you guys will see soon. I'm just holding off until the next W&L that I can't wait to unveil. So, but yeah, no, that's the goal. I don't want to be too big for my own britches. I really just want to enjoy what we're doing, and everybody just get ready for my son. Joe Maxwell Jr. is going to be something else, dude.
Yeah. So I'm going to finish off with asking, if there's kids that are, in the sport right now, what would be your advice for them heading off? They have a bright future ahead. What's your training advice at the moment, and what's your advice for them in life?
Take the ups. How about this? Here's the deal. Stay humble during the ups, right? And push through the downs. That's the only real way that you're going to be happy with yourself doing this sport, right? You gotta stay humble. You hold that trophy up, and then you got to pick your head up when you made a mental mistake on number 3, right? And just keep grinding. You guys are amazing athletes. I've seen quite a few with everybody, whoever listens to this, right? I've seen quite a few where I'm just like, dude, you're amazing. And I wish I had this sport at their age. I promise you, if I had this sport at 10 years old, I would have already been a world champion by now. Because Sam wouldn't have let me not try. You know what I mean? So, but also I think everything happens for a reason, and just keep grinding, stay healthy. If you feel like you're having a mental block, stop for a little bit, take a step back, refocus yourself, and then get yourself dialed in on a goal. If it's an obstacle that's on, too many kids go for those big moves. They're like, I can't get this big move. All right, make it a little bit closer or a little bit lower. Get that move, and then set your body up to get those bigger moves, because our bodies are crazy. We can adapt to so many things, right? You just got to progression is key. So
awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming on.
Absolutely.
Do you have anything that you want to shout out? Anywhere you want to follow on social media, or where your gym is, so people can train with you?
I'm Joe Maxwell. Like I said, I'm on Instagram, Joe Maxwell 86 or underscore 86. I own Maximum Effort Training Studio here in Utica, New York, and I am blessed to even be in this conversation with you, and I appreciate your time. It's kind of shocking that this interview, but I appreciate the platform, and I'm hoping that this motivates some of these future ninjas. Just keep doing it and max out. So
awesome. Yeah, thank you so much.
Yes, sir. I will talk to you later. Thank you.